All right, so if you wanted music or anything, you're welcome to just use any of my playlists, or you can use any music that you're just kind of feeling this morning. So welcome to your slow flow practice. Find a comfortable place on your mat. So if your back is that place, wonderful. But if you prefer to be in seated to start, know that that is always an option. And as you settle into your physical body, you might notice spaces that are feeling a little sticky or tight this morning. Just allow the muscles, the soft tissue around that area to relax, to release any tight gripping that your body is doing. You might feel your bones rest heavier into the surface beneath you. Almost feels like you release this need to hold yourself up and you just let yourself sink down. As we start to slow down and relax into our physical body, we also begin to create some space to mentally just slow down, to mentally clear out any static or any noise from the weekend or last week, or any upcoming thoughts that are whirling around. Just as you begin to sink into your physical body, you can also just sink your mind into this moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel your chest rise up and expand with lightness. And then exhale, drop into your body. Let your bones rest heavier. Inhale, breath, like you're starting over, you're resetting. And exhale to just let go. Let's take a couple more breaths just like that. Inhaling where you can find lightness, where you can call upon what you need, if you can bring that in. And exhaling, always the release, the letting go, the softening, the coming back towards center. Our niyama today that we are going to explore is Svadhyaya, which roughly translates as self-study. And so before we start to move into this practice, just take a moment to look within, to just study how you've landed here this morning. And from the knowledge gained with just observing, you can start to create an intention for your practice. So that self-study of why you show up on your mat, maybe if it's different today, why you showed up this morning. If there's anywhere in your body that you just need to be more kind or compassionate or gentle to, that we start to create this practice of tuning in and coming from a place of authentic inner knowledge rather than knowledge given to us from other people, society, cultural norms, that we really start to move through this in a way that serves exactly who we are in that moment. If you are in seated, you can gently start to make your way down onto your back. Just extend your legs long for a moment. Start to reach your arms overhead and stretch into the corners of your body. You might even notice your body wants to yawn, and you can always add that in as you inhale. And then as you exhale, keep this elongated shape and just soften into your shoulders. Relax all of the tension that you were just reaching with. And let's just take 2 more breaths like that. So inhale, start to lengthen, point your toes, reach through your fingertips. And then exhale, soften every ounce of your being. Take 1 more. Inhale, breath to reach and to lengthen. And exhale, let that go. Bend into your knees, plant your feet onto your mat and heel toe your feet wide. Drop your knees towards center. So you're creating a pyramid shape with your knees. And then notice that gap between your lower back and the ground. We'll start to lengthen out the lumbar spine. Press your belly button down towards the earth, almost as though you're squishing that air underneath your lower back. And start to reach your fingertips up towards the sky so your hands land over top of your shoulders. Reach for opposite elbows or forearms. So your arms are creating a box or a square over top of your chest. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, lower your elbows to the right. Left arm lengthens across your chest and right elbow bends deeper. Inhale, breath, lift your arms back up through center. Forearms are above your chest in that square shape. And then exhale, drop your elbows over to the other side. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhales to lift up through center. Exhales to lower side to side. Should feel an opening or lengthening across the deltoid, the outer part of the upper arm. You might feel a lengthening down the side of your neck, across your upper traps, the upper part of your shoulders. Let's take 1 more to each side. And then the next time that you come up through center, bring your arms overhead. So forearms start to reach back towards the top of your head. You can keep a hold of elbows, or if this feels like too much for your shoulders, slide your hands closer together. You can even just wrap your hands so you create a diamond shape. Arms rest on towards the ground. And with this shape of your arms, now start to find movement into your legs. Drop your knees over to the right and over to the left. Notice what's happening within the physical body. Really, for this practice, trying to stay present with the sensations so that from that knowledge of how those sensations feel in your body, you can start to choose the right depth for each of these poses this morning. You can just start to choose a practice that aligns with how you've landed today. The next time that your knees come up through center, heel toe your feet in closer and then bring your knees into your chest. Hands wrap on top of your shins and start to draw circles with your thighs glued together. So knees will draw out to either the left or right, start to draw away, and then you can hug your knees in again. This can be a really nice massage for lower back and for your sacrum. You're welcome to make these circles as big or little as feels good. Start to study how your breath and movement combine here on your mat. It might feel nice to breathe half the circle on the inhale and half on the exhale. Switch directions if you haven't already. Soften into the creases of your hips. Take 1 more full circle. And then the next time that your knees come back through center, pause. Keep a hold of your right knee in towards your chest and release the sole of your left foot down. Extend your right toes up towards the ceiling and interlace your hands behind your hamstring. You can move your hands up towards your calf or ankle if you're looking for a little bit more sensation. If this isn't available, you can always grab a dish towel or something that you can wrap around the back of your leg and then hold onto the ends like you're using a strap. And if you want more lengthening in the front of your left hip, just start to extend your left leg out long, like you would in Windurlinging pose. Study this moment to just notice if you are breathing. And you can do this with every pose in your practice. When you notice that the breath has started to go away, it's often an indicator that we've gone a little too deep or that we're not present. And so we just simply invite breath back in and notice if any physical shifts need to be made so that we can show up more fully. If you want to take this a little bit deeper for the last couple of breaths, you're welcome to start to peel your head, neck, shoulders away from your mat, bringing your forehead up towards your knee or shin, hugging your leg in nice and close. And then as you exhale, gently releasing your upper body back down. Bend into your knee, hug your right knee in towards the side of your rib cage for one full inhale. Feel your belly rise up to the inside of your inner thigh. And exhale, feel your belly soften. Release your right foot to your mat. Slide your left knee in towards your chest and extend your left toes up towards the ceiling. Explore the length into the back of your left leg. Hands can interlace anywhere behind your leg. Always optional. You can play with straightening out your right leg, but if that feels too much or pulls onto your right hip flexors, you can always just bend your knee, punch your foot. See if you can find a place that almost feels like you're standing in the middle of a teeter-totter. So you're feeling sensation, you're feeling a lengthening, even slight discomfort, but it's not so much so that you want to come out of this shape. Relax any gripping of your shoulders, allow your shoulders to slide away from your ears, maybe even a soft bend into your elbows. And just noticing if you're starting to really just pull to one side of the emotional spectrum or the yin yang spectrum here. If you're starting to force or control, or if you're not bringing in any effort, that you just start to bring in the opposite side. So knowing yourself well enough of when do you need that extra little bit of motivation and when do you need to relax and to let go. If you did so on the other side, you're welcome to start to peel yourself away from the ground. Take your nose up towards your knee or your shin. Hold for another breath. And then when you exhale, you can gently release yourself back down. Bend into your left knee, hands interlace on top of your shin. Hug your knee in towards your left armpit. And then this time, keep your left knee in towards your chest. Bring your right knee in to meet and give yourself a nice big hug. Okay. Now, if this feels okay for you, you can rock and roll up and down the length of your spine, bringing your hands behind your knees. If you prefer, you can always just roll to either side and press yourself up. If you are rocking and rolling, maybe 3 to 5 rocks. Eventually, you'll knee into tabletop. So you might want to bring yourself into the middle of your mat if you kind of rolled too far forward or off your mat. Okay. Tuck your toes under. Knees are about hip width distance apart. Again, you can always use a dish towel for this pose if you can't quite reach your heels. Start to walk your hips back to your heels so that you're just sitting shoulders over hips. And then reach your hands to the outsides of your heels so that your fingertips land onto the back of your foot or the bottom of your foot and your thumbs land onto the top of your foot. Now start to curl and round forward. Tuck your chin in towards your chest for rabbit pose. Slowly lower
so that the top or crown of your head comes towards the earth. And then peel your hips away from your heels and draw your shoulders away from your ears. So it's almost like you're in a child's pose, but now you're starting to take your hips away from the earth. Tuck your chin into your chest. There shouldn't really be any weight in your head. It's really just kind of a tripod. Notice if your shoulders are lifting into your earlobes, can you lower them back down like you're drawing them away from your hairline? Take one more full breath exactly as you are. And then as you exhale, you can gently release your hips back towards your heels. Walk your hands forward to come into tabletop. Untuck your toes and then sit your hips back onto your heels again. Now you're welcome to pause here. You can start to walk your hands back. You can lean back. If you're looking for an opening into the fronts of your quads, you can always press into your feet. Start to lift your knees away from your mat. Just make sure that whatever variation you've taken, there's no pulling into your knee joint. And then lowering your knees back down, start to walk your hands forward, tabletop, tuck your toes, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Okay, first time that you come into down dog this morning, I always like to bring in movement. So any movement that feels good, pedaling out your feet, shifting side to side. You can always come down to child's pose at any point instead of down dog if you need just a little bit of a rest, or if as you sit with your body, you notice that you're not breathing, child's pose can be a great reset. From downward facing dog, take a soft bend into your knees. Walk your hands to the back of your mat to fold. Your feet about hip width distance apart. Either plant your left hand onto a block or up onto fingertips in the middle of your mat. As you inhale, straighten out your right leg, start to twist open to the right. Hand can land to your hip or right fingertips can reach up. And then as you exhale, fold over top of your thighs, bend your knees. Inhale, breath, kick out your left hip, left fingertips rise up. And exhale to fold. Take an inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen, find a flat back. And then exhale, fold. Bend into your knees, inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. And then exhale, land your hands through heart center. Inhale, breath, reach your arms all the way up. Exhale, interlace your hands behind your lower back. As you inhale, roll your shoulders up and down, lift through your sternum, send your knuckles towards the ground. Exhale, bend your knees to fold. Keep your hands interlaced, and they can stay at your low back, or you might even float them off. Hold into your fold for one breath. And at the bottom of your exhale, release your hands to your low back and then towards the ground. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Walk your hands forward to high plank. Take your time to get there. Drawing belly button into spine, really working onto core engagement. On your next inhale breath, just hold into this shape. And then when you exhale, ripple back through the spine, downward facing dog. Slowly melt your heels towards the earth at the end of your down dog. Inhale, breath, ripple forward, heels peel away, shoulders stack over top of wrists. Exhale, lift up and back, downward facing dog. And one more full breath, just like that. Inhale to ripple forward. And exhale to downward facing dog. Walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale, three-legged dog. Lift your right heel high to the sky. Bend into your right knee. Start to stack into your hips. Peel your side body open. As you exhale, step through monkey lunge. Lower your back knee towards the ground. And then inhale, reach your arms all the way up. As you exhale, interlace your fingers. Take your hands to the back of your head and just bring your elbows out wide. My teacher always likes to call this sun tanning dad, which might be necessary in the next few months to just picture yourself on a beach in warm weather. But it's a really beautiful opening for the chest, for shoulders. So just drop your shoulders down your back, draw your elbows out to the sides of the room. Even option to open up the front of your throat by taking your head back into your hands, using your hands to support the weight of your head. And as you exhale, gently release your hands to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Step yourself forward to the top of your mat. Take an inhale breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale, rest your arms all the way up. And exhale, forward fold, let that go. Okay. Plant into your left hand. Inhale, twist to the right. Straighten out your right leg. Right hand comes up towards your low back or the sky. Exhale, fold. Inhale, breath, twist open to the left. Kick out your left hip. Bend deeper into your right knee. Exhale to fold. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands onto the ground. Step your right toes back. All right. Lower your right knee down. Inhale, breath, monkey lunge. Send your right hip forward, lift through your heart. Exhale, send your hips back, half splits. Left toes turn up, hips reach back towards your right heel. Start to move forward again. Bend into your left knee, monkey lunge. Hands can stay rooted or you're welcome to bring them back up. And then exhale, if hands are up, they'll come down and hips move back. Take 3 more rounds of this breath and movement. Just starting to create some heat into your body. As you move through this pose, it gives you an opportunity to just study depth, to become aware of what's feeling sticky or stubborn in your body today. All right, the next time that you move towards your monkey lunge, pause. Plant into your hands, tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. 3-legged dog, sweep your front foot behind you and up to the sky. Bend into your left knee, stack into your hip. Peel your side body open. As you exhale, step your left foot through again, monkey lunge. Lower your back knee down. Inhale, lift your arms all the way up. Interlace your fingers with the opposite grip to the back of your head. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and just start to lean slightly back. As you lean back, send your right hip forward. Soften your shoulders down your back. Maybe you even close into your eyes. Take a slow breath for yourself to just release any of the fast-moving thoughts or any of the noise or static. And then as you exhale, gently release your hands to the earth. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knees. Step to the top of your mat. Take an inhale breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale breath, reach your arms all the way up. Squeeze your glutes. Exhale, forward fold, release. Inhale to twist. Left hand plants, right hand reaches to your hip or to the sky. Exhale, fold through center. Inhale, twist the other side. Exhale to fold back through center. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step your left toes back, lower your left knee down. Inhale to monkey lunge. Hands can stay down or you can lift them up. Exhale to half split. Start to straighten out your front leg, turn your toes up and fold. Inhale, breath, shift forward. Send your heart out in front of you. And then exhale, hinge. Continue with this movement each time to stay present for what's happening within and navigating that from a place of knowledge and support. So not looking around you, which is actually really beautiful in a home practice for what this has to look like, for not worrying about whether you're doing it right or wrong, but just studying how this feels within your own body. Right, the next time that you move forward, plant into your hands, tuck your back toes to lift your back knee, sweep your right heel to the sky, 3-legged dog. Bend into your right knee, stack in towards your hip. Take one more inhale breath. Lift your left heel high to the sky. Exhale, step through again. This time, keep your back knee lifted. If you have blocks, I actually really like blocks for this next variation. So you're always welcome to take your hands onto stacks of books or a water bottle if you don't have blocks. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, start to shift back, straightening out your front leg, and then bend your back knee to a hover. Turn your right toes up towards the sky. Right. Inhale, breath shift forward, straighten out your back leg, bend into your right knee, lower your left hip towards the ground. Exhale, it's a hovering half splits. Send your hips back, straighten out your front leg. Start to bend into your back leg and hinge at the waist. Inhale, breath shift forward. Really open up into the front of your left hip. Let's take one more breath to shift back. One more breath to shift forward. And then step yourself back to a three-legged dog. Right foot comes all the way up to the sky. Bend into your right knee, stack your hip. Take one full circle. Bring your right knee down beside your left, in towards your chest, out to the side and up. And then take one circle in the other direction. Right knee comes out to the side, into your chest. Sweep it back. And then gently release your right foot down. Inhale, breath, take your left heel to the sky, bend into your left knee, stack into your hip, peel your side body open. Inhale, lift your right heel away from the ground. Exhale, left foot steps between your hands. Low runner's lunge, back knee stays lifted. Drop your right hip ever so slightly to the earth as you lift your heart. Exhale, send your hips back, start to pull your left toes up towards the ceiling, and then bend into your right knee. And just move forward and back with this. So inhale to a low runner's lunge, back knee stays lifted. Exhale to a hovering half splits. You should start to feel some length into the back of your left leg and into the front of your right hip. Let's take one more round of breath and movement on this side. Hopefully finding a little bit more space for yourself. And then meet into your three-legged dog one more time. Front foot lifts back behind you. Bend into your knee to stack your hip. Take one circle in each direction. Slow it down. Knee slides beside your right, into your chest, out and up. And then take the other direction. Once you come all the way up, release your left foot down. Walk your feet out wide, maybe towards the edges of your mat. Soft bend into your knee, and then take your hands, walking them back. So you're in a fold at the back of your mat. Turn your toes out to 10 and 2, and then sink your hips down. So you're now in a yogi squat, the back of your mat facing forward. This is one of my favorites for lower back. From your yogi squat, just start to hinge and fold forward. Tuck your chin in towards your chest. If this isn't available today, just bring yourself up a little bit higher. Forearms can rest onto thighs, or you can drape your body. But you're looking for that curved and rounded spine with the bend in the knees to support your sacrum and lower back. If you're craving some movement of head or neck, you're always welcome to create little half circles, tucking chin into chest, bringing your ear over to either shoulder, or you can always shift a little weight side to side, a slight sway of the body. Eventually, over the next few breaths, you'll land in stillness. And then as you inhale, feel like you're sending your breath into the back of your rib cage and out to the left and to the right sides. And as you exhale, sink your hips closer to the ground, sink your chin to your chest. Just take 2 more breaths here. Plant into your hands, pick up your hips, moving back into a forward fold. Feet about hip width distance apart. Take a deep bend into your knees. Left hand plants into the center of your mat. Inhale, twist to the right. Kick out your right hip. Bend deep into your left knee. Exhale to fold. One twist to the other side. Inhale to reach and expand. And exhale to fold. Inhale, breath halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold, bend into your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Take a big giant stretch. And exhale, gather your hands through to heart center. Tadasana mountain pose, just for a few breaths. Release your hands down beside your body. You can roll your shoulders once or twice, especially if you're feeling a lot of tension, into your upper back. Close down your eyes. Start to notice your breath, if it's feeling a little short, if it's feeling heavy or tight. Can you start to move your breath more towards depth, to a slower, more mindful pace? To just notice if you're getting caught up in any past moments, to just let that go. Self-study isn't something that we just do once. It's something that we do with each breath that we take. And it really is an opportunity to do better with each breath. And so when you know better, when you notice that you're not present, when you notice that you're fighting against yourself, it's an opportunity to just simply do better until you know better again, and then you do better. On your next inhale breath, sweep your arms out and up. Take a big full body stretch. Exhale, forward fold, bend into your knees, straighten your body. Inhale, breath halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Walk your hands forward towards downward facing dog. Inhale, breath, draw your right heel high to the sky. Exhale, step about halfway up your mat. Beautiful. Straighten out both legs, pyramid pose. Fold for a moment over top of your right leg. Now you can always take your hands onto blocks if they don't quite reach the ground, or rest your hands onto your front shin. Start to lengthen out your spine. Reach the crown of your head forward. Peel your belly off of your front thigh. If your back heel lifts up a bit, that's okay. You're looking for almost a flat back, like a halfway lift. Add in a twist. Left hand stays rooted down. Slide your right hand up towards your right hip, or reaching all the way up towards the sky for a revolved triangle or a revolved pyramid. Draw your inner thighs together. This will help to scoop your right hip back. We'll give you that opening down through the IT band area. Beautiful. Gently release your right hand towards the earth. Walk your hands so that they're about a foot in front of your right big toe, and then pick up your left heel. Optional, you can pause here, or you can start to play with a warrior three, bringing your right hand to your heart center. Maybe you start to float your left hand to your heart center, and you squeeze your shoulders, slight up dog of your chest. Left toes turn towards the ground. If you are in this warrior three variation, gently begin to release your hands towards the earth. Stack your left hip over your right now for half move. So I know this is a lot on the right hamstring. If you need a break, you can always step down. Otherwise, turn your left toes out to the side. Feel your hip pull open. You're welcome to keep both hands down in this shape, or you can start to take your left hand up towards your left hip or reach it all the way up. Your right hand can always be on a block to give you that extra lift. Flex into your left foot to engage the muscles of your lifted leg. One more full breath in. Exhale, release your left hand down. Turn your left toes to the ground. Hug your left knee into your chest, and then step your left foot to the top of your mat for pyramid on the other side. Okay, so you should have your left toes about at the top of your mat, right foot in the middle. You can always walk your hands forward. Fold for just a moment. Allow your upper body to rest, to relax. When you feel ready, start to activate the back of your upper body. Reach the crown of your head forward. Take a halfway lift shape of your spine in pyramid. And then right hand can stay rooted down. Add in a twist. Left hand comes up towards your lower back or reaches all the way up. To really create that opening into the outer line of your legs, squeeze your inner thighs together. Draw your shoulder blades towards one another. Gently release from your twist. Walk your hands about a foot forward and pick up your back toes. So either L-shaped pose, hands support you, or you can start to play with taking your left hand to your heart center. Maybe your right hand comes to your heart center, working into warrior 3, a much more challenging balance variation, but still both poses will offer you an opportunity to work on strength and flexibility. Draw your belly button into your spine, activating your core. One more breath wherever you are. And then hands can come back down if you're in warrior 3. One final pose, half moon. Turn your right toes out to the right side of your mat. Begin to stack your right hip over top of your left. Right hand can come up towards your right hip or can start to reach up towards the sky. Beautiful. On your next exhale breath, unravel. Bring your right hand to the earth. Listen carefully. Turn your right toes to the ground. Crisscross your thighs. Step your right foot behind your left, but keep about a foot of distance. So you don't want your pinky edges right beside one another, that you want a little bit of room. Now you can stay here, just squeezing our thighs towards one another, or you're welcome to play with walking your hands all the way over to the left side. You can bend if you're taking this variation into your front knee, and that's going to get you into the outer edge of your right hip. Let your head hang heavy so you can soften into the back of your head, neck, and shoulders. And then walk your hands back through center. Step your right toes to meet your left. Take an inhale breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Plant your hands on the ground or a block and step your left foot to crisscross behind your right. Inner thighs squeeze together. Now this might just feel okay to be here, or you're welcome to start to walk your hands over towards the top left corner of your mat. Kick your left hip out to the side, bending deeply into your right knee. Okay, there's lots of variations of this, so just finding through curiosity and through the time spent on your mat what works for you today. Gently walk your hands all the way back through center. Step your left toes to meet your right. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step your toes back, high plank. Optional vinyasa, or just ripple through the spine. Lift your hips up to downward facing dog. Then lower your knees down to your mat for a moment. Just take a child's pose. Knees walk wide, big toes to touch. Sit your hips back towards your heels. Allow your forehead to rest heavy onto the ground. Take a deep breath in. Feel your rib cage draw out to the left and to the right. And exhale. Just let any of that previous tension release. Take a couple more breaths, feeling your body start to slow down to maybe bring some calming energy in. Or as you sit with yourself in this pause, just noticing what do you need for this next little bit of your practice. Let's meet into downward facing dog in the next couple of breaths. Slowly, mindfully peel yourself away from your mat. You're always welcome to add in vinyasa if you'd like. Otherwise, just begin to lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Walk your big toes together to touch. On an inhale breath, sweep your right heel high to the sky. You take a deep bend into your left knee. Walk your hands to the back of your mat, standing splits. Okay, so it might take a little bit to get there. You might have to lift up your left heel. Now, if this isn't available, you can always, from down dog, walk your hands back like you're taking a fold and then start to float your right heel up. Tuck your chin to your chest, begin to gaze back behind you. Now you can use your fingertips to help support you, or you can always take one of your hands and wrap it around your standing leg. You can take both hands and play with some balance. Make sure that your weight is fully in your standing leg and you're not hunched into your hands forward. That might mean you need to take a deeper bend into your knee if your hamstrings are really tight, and that's totally okay. Hold for one more breath. Meet into your three-legged dog. Start to walk your hands forward. Bend into your right knee, stack into your hip. As you exhale, half pigeon. Take your right knee to your right wrist, right ankle to the left side of your mat, and lower your left knee down. Okay, untuck your left toes and walk your hands beside your hips so that your shoulders stack over top of your hips, staying upright for just a pause. And at any point that you feel ready, you can start to hinge forward and fold. Always optional to use props to stack your forearms onto or your forehead. Can you feel all the tension that was in your right hip and glutes to lift your heel up, now starting to lengthen out? All that tension starting to fade away. Take 3 more breaths wherever you've landed. And notice if there's room in your body to be present. Can you hear the sounds of your inhales and your exhales? Walk your hands back up in towards your front shin. Pressing into your hands, tuck your back toes to lift your knee, and then step your right foot back downward facing dog. Okay, optional movements that just feel good to allow you to release from that last shape. When you're ready, walk your big toes together to touch. Float your left heel up towards the ceiling, bending into your right knee to help support low back. Start to walk your hands towards the back of your mat, standing splits. Standing splits is a balance between strength and flexibility. So it's that opening of the standing leg, but squeeze into your left glute to lift your left heel higher. That you need that strength into the leg that's floating in the air to keep it activated. Draw your belly button into your spine. Relax into the back of your head and neck so that your gaze is back behind you, chin tucked in towards your chest. Notice if you're breathing. If you're not, just simply exhale. Your body will automatically inhale. If you have a hold of your leg, gently release, start to walk your hands forward, three-legged dog, one full breath, bend into your knees, stack into your hips, and then exhale to half pigeon. Slide your left knee towards your left wrist, left ankle to the right side of your mat. Take a moment in your half pigeon to lift upright, and then when you're ready, you can start to hinge and fold forward. Find a comfortable space for your body to rest. Svadhyaya is so important, the self-study, to move through life in accordance to our own beliefs and values, and to really carve out a life that is meant for us. It's really easy to place so much emphasis on what other people think
or what other people need or these external expectations. When we practice self-study, we start to notice, what do we really need? What do we want? How do we want to move through this life? And it's a really beautiful shift from the external to the internal. And you start to really feed your own soul in choosing people, places, spaces, and activities that amplify you and allow you an opportunity to amplify them. Gently start to walk your hands back up in towards your body. This time shift over onto your left hip, bend into your right knee and scoop your right foot around and in front. Bring your feet, they can either be together or hip width distance apart, but knees are quite bent, and then just start to hug in towards yourself. I like knees apart because it allows me a space to drop my head in between thighs, but you can always have your knees together and allow your forehead to rest onto your knees. If it feels good, you're welcome to slightly rock in a seated fetal position, or you can just drape your body down between your legs. This is another one of my favorite poses that you just pause into to open up lower and mid back. And really focus on how breath can allow you to get that release. On how your breath can expand into all of those spaces that feel really sticky or feel like they don't want to move. And then as you exhale, it's almost like you're rinsing your breath up the length of your spine, releasing any tension as your breath moves out. Now, if you are really feeling this pose and you like the sensation, you're welcome to stay in this modified fold. Otherwise, you can just start to walk your hands back up and towards your body, find a flat spine again, and then extend your legs long. Feet can be together or hip width distance. As you inhale, reach your fingertips all the way up. And then as you exhale, just start to hinge and fold forward. Always optional to grab a hold of a block to support your forehead. You can also use pillows underneath your belly to help give you that extra support, especially if you feel this in the low back. If you do feel this in the low back and it's kind of pulling, you can always bend your knees and fold with pillows or props underneath your knees as well. Wherever you've landed, let go of any urgency or need to fight against this shape. And if you feel like you can't let that go, this is the self-study of noticing when it's too much. And notice what happens when you actually just dial it back a little bit. When you give yourself some space to breathe. And this practice is really an opportunity to just shift and notice what happens. Notice how a couple of millimeters can change your experience. As you come out of this shape, imagine that you're stacking your vertebrae one by one. Start to walk your hands in towards your hips. Chin will come up last. Bend into your knees. You can always scoop yourself forward if you're close to the back of your mat. And just slowly lower yourself down all the way until your knees come into your chest. And you can just give yourself a nice big squeeze. All right, you're welcome to stay here. This last pose is a little bit of an inversion.
If you are coming into it, but you're not sure how to come into plow, just watch first so that you're not cranking your neck over to the side to watch and try and do this at the same time. So chin will stay pointed up towards the ceiling. Try not to look left or right. Bring your hands down beside your body, knees into your chest. And then you can start to just roll up and down the length of your spine, but you're gonna keep your shoulders rooted down. So you can press into your hands, lift your hips away. Eventually, you'll lift your hips up enough you can bring your hands to your lower back and support you. And then as you walk your hands up the length of your spine, you'll start to drop your knees towards your shoulders. Legs can straighten, or you can have knees bent. Resting onto the backs of your arms and elbows pressing down towards your mat will fold you up. If this isn't available, you can always just keep your knees into your chest or take a happy baby pose, separating knees out wide. Keep your gaze straight ahead. Notice the sensation along the back of your spine. If you need a little bit longer in the shape, you're welcome to take it. Otherwise, you can slowly start to lower your hips to the ground with the help of your hands. And you can gently bend into your knees, release the soles of your feet down. Walk your big toes together to touch, bring the soles of your feet to touch, and just allow your knees to splay out to the side. Supine butterfly. Bring your left hand to your heart, right hand to your belly. Close down your eyes and just simply breathe. Allow all of the lengthening and sensation in the back of the body to release and fade away. Allow yourself just a little bit longer to linger in this pause. And then gently start to bring your knees back up through center. Heel toe your feet wide to the edges of your mat and just drape your knees to the left and over to the right. If it feels good, you're welcome to pause your knees over to one side for 3 to 5 breaths. Just coming into a really gentle twist. If you prefer to just continue moving through the next 8 or so breaths, you're welcome to. And if you have paused over to one side, start to lift your knees back up through center and then drop your knees over to the other side. Slight internal rotation of your hips. If there are any final poses that you are craving, once you're done with a side-to-side movement or your twist, you're welcome to take that. Otherwise, you can gently release your knees up through center, extend your legs out long, and bring yourself in towards Shavasana. Your mind is this beautifully complicated set of machinery. And I think it takes many, many lifetimes for us to truly start to understand what's happening within our mind's eye. One of the things that we can start to cultivate to practice self-study is to actually start with the physical body. The mind is really complicated, but the physical body isn't. And your physical body, it sends you signals daily, that pit in your stomach, that wrenching of your gut, that easing into, you're just melting into space, or that lengthening, that it feels so good, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable.
Your body will send you panic messages when something is too much, it can't settle, it starts to fight and resist. If you listen to your body, it's almost a way of listening to your soul, of listening to that inner voice. And often we listen to our mind over our body, and the mind can mask what your body is trying to tell you. And so self-study is really important when we start to learn to say no to things that we get bad feelings about, that we don't feel good, or our body is saying, I'm so tired and exhausted. Please don't make me do this. And we push through anyways, and we wonder why we get injured or why we're depleted. And so I really encourage you in this Shavasana to just explore, what is your body trying to tell you today? Whether it was through sensation, whether it was through a thought that kind of came out through your body, or even a non-language. It doesn't have to be words. It could have just been a feeling or an intuitive knowing. And when we start to honor these, we start to take steps to just align with, what do we really need in this moment? Is it to rest? Is it to create? Is it to push forward? Is it to pull back? I'll leave you here in Shavasana for just a few moments to just sit and explore by listening without judgment, and just holding space for yourself to be exactly as you are, and space to be heard. I'll bring you out of this shortly so you don't have to worry about time. When you live your life from this internal place of knowing, and you make decisions not based on external circumstances, you actually allow yourself to drop doubt and uncertainty, because even with the unknown choices or moments, there's just this feeling of trust and of knowing without being given evidence or safety, of just knowing that you are moving into alignment with what you need. And so I hope as you move through the rest of your week, you are able to continually make choices for yourself that come from a place of love and authenticity and care. You're welcome to stay here in Shavasana, or you can slowly start to move into your fingertips and your toes. You know, start to wake up your physical body. And if you are wanting to close off your practice in seated, just using the next few breaths to slowly, mindfully bring yourself there. Hands can land at heart center. Truly so much love and so much gratitude for each of you for showing up today, and for all the other times that you have showed up and shared community with me. From the bottom of my heart. Namaste. Have a wonderful week ahead. If you want to stay on for journaling prompts, I'll stick around for that. Otherwise, I will see you Wednesday or Friday for yin and happy hits. All right. How, 1 second, let me pause on. So self-study is, we often study how we're supposed to react in situations or how we're supposed to hold ourselves. And we're told this from such a young age of really who we're supposed to be. And so self-study is kind of unraveling those previous notions of what life has to look like. And it really offers you an opportunity to just explore what is right for me in this lifetime. So ways that you can journal about this. One of my favorites is to look at a big one that, I guess for me is I say yes to a lot of things that I really don't want to, and then how you feel afterwards. So are there certain things that you're saying or you're doing that you know deep down isn't right for you or wasn't the right decision? So it's kind of that gut feeling where you're like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done this, or, oh, I knew I should have gone after this and I didn't. And then also when you kind of notice that that's happening, what is causing you to make a decision that goes against what your body is saying? So this can be in life, off the mat, committing to plans with someone when you know that you're going to be tired because you've had a really long week and you're really not going to want to be there or show up fully. Or it can even be on your mat, knowing that you maybe didn't need to practice that day, or knowing that a pose really wasn't going to serve you, or a depth. When you're in a pose and you're just fighting against your body, but you stay in it because you think you have to, is really doing that self-study. Like, is this right for me right now? Can I shift it so it really does align? So it really is just checking in with, are we living authentically, or are we living according to other people's expectations, judgments, or are we living towards other people's perceived expectations? They might not even be told to us, but we assume that we have to do something a certain way. And this is just an opportunity to kind of look at how can you show up for yourself and live life for you. So hopefully that lands. If you want a few minutes to journal about that, you're welcome to, and we can discuss afterwards. Okay. Have a good day for those of you leaving.